What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with you. Another video for you guys. Anybody that is new to the channel and you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, let's jump right into the topic of this video. And today I wanted to focus on the defensive line, especially given the current state of the Raiders roster, with us just parting ways with our star defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, who we signed in free agency last season. Signed him to a big 4-year, $110 million contract. He was really supposed to be the answer for the Raiders at the defensive tackle position for years to come, for the next 4 years or so, but that just did not work out. The Raiders had to move on from him. Now, obviously, that's still an ongoing situation. It's a messy situation, but this leaves the Raiders roster with a void at the defensive tackle position. And ultimately, it opens up a big opportunity for our young players on this roster to potentially make a big impact at the defensive tackle position. Now, we still got a veteran in Adam Butler. We know what he brings to the table, but he's going to need some help in the interior. And to me, there's no doubt that Christian Wilkins not going to be available this season. To me, it does leave a void at the defensive tackle position, but we'll just have to see what players can potentially step up with this type of move. And one player I wanted to talk about today was defensive end Tyree Wilson. And to me, this is really a huge opportunity for Tyree Wilson. And at this stage of his career with the Raiders, this could potentially save his career. Now, Tyree Wilson was a top 10 draft pick a couple years back in that 2023 NFL draft. And let's be honest, he's been very underwhelming as a top 10 pick thus far. It just has not been a great situation for him. The production has not been there. Early on in his career, in his rookie season, he essentially missed the entire offseason and he was thrown onto the football field too soon. Given the circumstances in that season, if we remember, Chandler Jones at the last minute had to be released as well. So this left a huge void at the defensive end position. And they threw Tyree Wilson out there and he just really wasn't ready. He did not look good early on in that season. Now, towards the end of it, he started to look a little bit better, but definitely an underwhelming rookie season. And last offseason, a lot of people, including myself, very optimistic and hopeful of what we could see from Tyree Wilson, having a full NFL offseason under his belt, getting healthy, learning the defensive scheme, and overall improving his game, putting the work in to potentially be a top edge rusher in the league, to be that dynamic duo alongside of Max Crosby. But we just did not see that last season. And really, last season was a huge opportunity for him as well. If he wanted to make a name for himself at the defensive end position, last season was a perfect opportunity because Malcolm Koonce was out for the entire season, but he just really couldn't be effective as an edge rusher. And really, the biggest issues I see with Tyree Wilson being on the edge is just the fact that he is not explosive enough to be an elite edge rusher. He doesn't have that speed, that get off coming off of the defensive line. He doesn't have really any twitch or bend to his game. And he's just very one-dimensional when it comes to his approach. As a pass rusher, he relies solely on the bull rush, trying to use his strength to back down the offensive tackle. But you just cannot be that one-dimensional and be successful on a consistent basis on the edge. He hasn't learned a spin move. He hasn't been great with his hands, using long arm techniques, any swim moves, any spin moves, anything like that. That's just really been the biggest downfall of Tyree Wilson. Not explosive enough, not really good with his hands. So I think at this stage of his career, I'm kind of out on him being a good edge rusher at this point. Honestly, I just saw very little improvement to his game last season. And it just didn't really seem like he improved in these aspects at all last season. But I think one opportunity for Tyree Wilson to make a name for himself on this Raiders defense and just for his NFL career in general could be a move to the interior of the defensive line. Tyree Wilson being a 6'7", 275-pound lineman. He definitely has a good frame to build off of this, to be a defensive tackle, be a guy that can use his strength, his size to his advantage inside the trenches, try to get some push up the middle of the pocket, force the quarterback to try to escape outside the pocket, and that's hopefully where, with our elite edge rusher and Max Crosby and Malcolm Koonce, hopefully those guys can do a good job getting pressure off the edges. But I think Tyree Wilson, if he really wants to salvage his career and come anywhere close to the expectation we had of him as a top 10 pick, I think he should seriously consider moving to the defensive tackle position. And like I said, it's definitely a huge opportunity with Christian Wilkins being off of this football team. Really, in my opinion, I think the best game of Tyree Wilson thus far in his young career was that game against the Minnesota Vikings in 2023. And in that game, he primarily played at the defensive tackle position. And that was really the game where I noticed that he was just getting after it. He was getting pressure up the middle. And with him being a guy that just relies so heavily on the bull rush, this could potentially be effective at the defensive tackle position. Now, you would still like to have him learn something else, continue to use his hands, get better at that. But at least in the inside, a big part of it is your strength, getting nasty in the trenches, getting leverage on your man. And with Tyree Wilson, I think he could have a chance to thrive at the defensive tackle position. Now, it still wouldn't be a seamless transition as he is 275 pounds, but to me, it kind of looks more like he's 250, and he doesn't have that elite strength that most interior defensive tackles have. So he is going to have to continue to bulk up and get a little bit stronger if he really wants to be elite as a powerful 3-tech. And one thing I saw, this is reported from Ryan McFadden, Tyree Wilson was quoted as saying, "I feel like I'm way more advanced than year 1 and year 2. And Tyree Wilson spoke about the fact that it's a different ball game playing inside, but he embraces the opportunity to provide versatility to the Las Vegas Raiders pass rush. So I think this is something that Pete Carroll is definitely going to consider. Maybe he won't start as a full-time defensive tackle, but I would like to see him get a lot more reps in the interior. Maybe you can still use him on the edge when Malcolm Koonce or Crosby needs a breather, and really more as depth than anything on the outside. Like I said, I just don't really see him being effective as a defensive end. I just don't see the athleticism that you would like to see from an elite edge rusher. But with Christian Wilkins being off the books, this leaves a big void at the defensive tackle position. Tyree Wilson could potentially step up in this role. Also, we got Jonah Lalu, who last season was getting a lot of reps, and he did have some good performances. So I definitely want to see how he can take advantage of this opportunity. But I think we're going to have to probably rely on these young guys. Hopefully they can step up. Unless John Spytek can cook something up, make a trade for some type of interior defensive lineman. But Raider Nation, I definitely want to get your guys' feedback in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think about this topic. Do you think Tyree Wilson should be moved to a defensive tackle? Should the Raiders try to make that transition? Let me know in the comment section down below. But with that being said, Raider Nation, that is all for you guys in today's video. Anybody that is new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.